just ask your questions and, you know, whatever you need to do. I think you're kind of new to this group, I think, because you were in the eating plan group. So this year's still kind of new to this group too, which is fun. Yeah. So the biggest, okay, so I just got off a call with, it was a team call, a bigger team call with, do you know who Trent Shelton is? Have you ever heard of him? He was an NFL, yeah, he was in the NFL. He was a receiver, I think. But he has since become like the most sought after like motivational speaker, and he's like got podcasts and he's written books. He's phenomenal. I've seen him speak twice live, but he talked on our call tonight, which was like, yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's on our call. But it was super cool. A bigger team, not my little team, but our bigger team.
Sure.
And something that he said, and I've heard him talk, you know, most of what he said I've actually heard before, but one thing that he said tonight that I had never heard before from anybody was he said, okay, don't get off the call, but I'm going to say this and then I'm going to qualify it. But he said, for 2020, don't set goals. Everybody's like, he got real quiet for a second. And yeah. But this is what he said, and I really liked what he said. He said, set standards. Make it your goal to make your goals be your standard.
Interesting. Okay.
Like wrap your head around that for a second. Like, so when we talk about health and fitness, it's, you know, like your goal is to, because he even brought it into health and fitness because he was talking to a bunch of Beachbody coaches, but he brought it into health and fitness and he said, how many times have you lost 10 pounds?
So many.
Okay, right? So instead of that being your goal to lose 10 pounds, make health and fitness your standard so that you just keep going and going and going. So there's never, because like, and I can totally relate to this in business and in life. Like when you hit a goal, what is the first thing you do? You're like, oh,
you're like, okay, I can relax now.
I'm good. You know, and then you get lax, and then whatever it is, whatever, you know, whether it's a business goal or a fitness goal, let's say you lost that 10 pounds and you're like, sweet, I lost 10 pounds. I'm going to just lax now. I'm going to kick back. I'm going to not worry so much about my eating plan. I may or may not work out, whatever. But if it's a standard, this is who I am. I am the girl who eats great 80% of the time. I'm the girl who exercises 6 days a week. That's just who you are. You make it your standard, your lifestyle. Imagine how easy it'll be to get those things done. And then you're not always trying to get somewhere necessarily, because health and fitness isn't an endpoint.
No, it's the journey, not the
destination.
It's
a journey, and the journey never ends until you know, even if you live to be 108, which we very well may do these days because everybody's living longer. Even if you live to be 108, that journey for health and fitness doesn't stop till you stop completely, until you're in the ground and your soul is somewhere else, right? So,
right.
So if you take that idea of having a goal and turn it into a standard, it's just what you do. Like, how awesome would that be? And what a great feeling to just be contributing to that standard of your lifestyle every single day. And when you hit that 10 pounds, you won't be like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. You're like, no, I mean, there's no
another part of it. It's just keep going.
Right. Yeah. That's not part of it. To just, you know, and the standard isn't to lose 10 pounds, because you can't just keep losing 10 pounds, keep losing 10 pounds. The standard is to be the best version of you. And in order to be the best version of you, you have to eat well, you have to drink your water, drink your shake, or whatever. You don't do that, but do your fitness.
I do protein shakes, but
yeah. Okay. But you know, that's your standard. In order to be the best version of you, you have to do those things every day. You do those things every day, all those things that you used to call goals will happen anyway.
That's a very good point. I like that.
How cool is that? I was like, hold on, I need to, so like I got off that call and I was like, I need to relate this back to our group because this is so awesome. Like, I just love that. So that's how I start. What's that?
Well, they say how, like, most people, was it 70-something% of people who set the New Year's resolutions by February 1st to quit.
New Year's
And
resolutions are, all they are is setting you up for failure.
yeah, well, I mean, it is a goal of sorts, but you don't have the foundation to really move forward. You just say, okay, I'm going to do this. And when you don't hit that plateau, you don't hit that place, it's that whatever time you want, then you're like, whatever.
Well, and I think that's the converse to this whole thing, and it's
right.
actually why goals and resolutions fail, is because when you realize, you say, oh, by March I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and then you get to the middle or beginning of February and you've lost 3, and you're like, well, screw it, I'm not doing anything.
So quit. Oh, it's so easy to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely, so easy to do. And I've been thinking in my mind, like, I have not set my goals for 2020 yet, purposely. And I
now you're not supposed to.
now I don't even have to. No, but what my goal is not to set goals necessarily, but to make, like, and I've never ever done this, and I think it's kind of weird and foo-foo-y a little bit, but I'll let you know if it works. But I'm going to make a dream board. Instead of setting goals, I'm going to put, like, what I want on a board that I can see. It's going to be small. It's not going to be a board. It's probably me and by 11, but whatever. I'm going to put that up, and that's going to be like my ideal life on that thing that I can look at all the time. And what I have to do, that's my standard. That will be my standard. And then what I have to do to get there, I will take those steps along the way. And so those are like little pieces of what you would typically call goals to reach those standards. But that's what I'm going to do. It's like that we've got a little mastermind group that we're working together to build those sorts of things. So maybe it's something that we do as a group. Like, what is your standard? Like, what's your standard? What's your thing? Like, not Cindy Crawford, but you know what I mean. What's your thing? Okay, so that said, with all those things, the other thing I wanted to talk about is motivation for you to show up for yourself. And the other thing is for this group too. Like, as a group, I mean, we've got, probably 15 ladies in here who are regularly commenting and interacting and so on and so forth. And I think that part of an accountability isn't just to keep you accountable to yourself, but it's also to be accountable to the group. Are they playing?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh.
Okay. Pickles. Oh my gosh, this is my life.
And now Gonzo's over here, like, about to bark at the computer.
What is that?
I'm barking. But so, reasons why you should show up. Number one, because it's what you're doing and you're invested in it, and it's your standard, it's your lifestyle, right? But the other reason to show up is to be encouraging to other ladies who are going through similar things. And so I loved it how the other day Michelle put up that she was going to have to skip a workout, and it was the first time she's made it 8 days in a row ever working out. And she was like, now I'm on day 9 and I have to skip the workout. What am I going to do? And so many people rallied around her and gave her the motivation to say, tomorrow's not day 1, it's day 9. Even though you had to skip a day, you don't have, but I loved that because, it's the community piece of it. So showing up in this group is not just important for you, which is, number 1, of course, but number 2, it's important for everybody else. And I think that the more interaction we have with each other, the more successful we're all going to be over the long term. So that, and then, as you do all these things, and all the things that you're doing in this group are really little things. You're drinking water, you're eating right, you might be drinking superfoods, you're exercising, whatever it is that you're doing, those are all really little things. But if you do them every single day, they add up to make something that's really big. You know, they compound on each other over and over and over again. You know, just like the opposite, let's say every day you eat an extra 150 calories. Well, that's not really that much, right? 150 calories is not that much. But over the course of a month, 150 calories every day will add up to 5 to 10 pounds, depending on your metabolism. That's a big thing. So if you just eat right, you know, and you drink your water and you do your things and you do your fitness, all those little tiny things are going to add up to big change in your life, in your body, in the way you feel, in your health, in your blood work, in your blood pressure, you know, all those things. And it's just these little tiny changes that you can make in your lifestyle, in your standard, that will turn into something really big, which I love. So it's just a matter of sticking to those little things every day. And then we talked, well, you haven't talked about it, but we did talk about it a little bit when Michelle was talking about missing a workout. And I just wanted to address that because I think that it's an important thing. And I liked what somebody said, and I can't remember who it was, but they're like, oh, no, you don't start up back at day one, you just move on to the next day, like it didn't happen, you know, kind of thing. And don't let it bug you. And that's very, very true. No matter what, like if you have a cold, well, I work out when I have a cold. Maybe that's not for everybody, but I do. And it actually makes me heal faster. I actually get healthy faster the only time I really don't work out is if I'm throwing up or if I have a fever. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it may be, and I do all kinds of stupid stuff when I'm sick. Like not recently, but a while back before Thanksgiving, I had a nasty cold, and I may have been the flu. I don't really know, but I had fever, chills. I had all the things, but I called it a cold. A cold. I don't really know, but I was riding my horse one morning in a lesson, and my trainer was asking us to do something, and I was like, I can't. And she's like, yes, you can. I'm like, no, I have a fever. I really can't do that right now. And she was like, why are you here? I'm like, I don't know, because I said I was going to show up. So here I am, you know, like, right. So I'm really bad about that. But one thing I have figured out over time, for me, when I have a cold, working out actually helps me get well faster. But that's just me. And it makes me feel better. My nose, it clears my sinuses and all kinds of stuff. But let's say you have to take 3 or 4 days off because you're sick. That doesn't mean you start back at day 1. So if you're doing 21-day fix and you're on day 7 or you're on day 14 and you have to take 4 days off, you start back at day 8. You know, there's very few workouts where I'd say, like, you know, 80-day obsession is one of them, actually, where I'd say, like, if you're in phase 2 and you're on day 4 and you have to take 4 days off, you go back to day 1 of phase 2.
Yeah.
But that's because it's so, that workout, have you done that workout?
Mm-mm.
It is so compounding on each other that if you start right in the middle, you'll be so sore that you won't be able to go on the next day. Like there are very few workouts like that. That's one of them.
Well, I did actually, I take it back. I did start it, but I can't do some of Autumn's stuff because it's very hard on some of my joints. I don't know what it is what she does, but it kills my knees, and I always end up with a strain in my my elbow.
Oh, you know, that's interesting that you mentioned that. So I used to get tennis elbow.
Mm-hmm.
It's tennis elbow.
What it is, yeah.
So there's 2 different kinds of elbow. There's the tennis elbow that comes from these forearm muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's golfer's elbow. So tennis elbow is on the outside of your elbow. Golfer's elbow is on the inside of your elbow. Mm-hmm. And golfer's elbow comes from the tendons that are under here. It's like from the swing, from the down. It's actually from the downswing in golf, but you can get it from lifting weights too. So that's I'm glad you mentioned that, only because it's very easy to fix. So when you're lifting weights, be very careful of how you're gripping your weights. So, and it's really, really easy to white knuckle your weights.
I don't.
Yeah, like I barely hold on to my weights. When I'm holding like really heavy weights, I actually put them down sometimes in the middle of a set and stretch my hands out and stretch my tendons out that are here. Yeah, but you know, I've had other workouts where that's happened to me, but not hers. But what are you doing right now?
I'm doing morning meltdown.
Do you love it?
Oh my gosh, so much. I want to do it again when I'm done. I
Well, you
love it.
should. Are you
Yeah.
doing it? Are you doing it 100 days, or are you doubling up on some days?
No, just so I basically do hers Monday through Friday,
And
and
then you
then
play soccer?
I actually Saturday and Sundays I hike with the dogs. So I do
Mm-hmm.
like a 3 mile hike or something with them, and then I take them to training. So I'm busy enough with the two of them on the weekends that I don't worry about it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monday through Friday I do hers.
And are you doing one a day, or are you doing? You are okay.
I don't have enough time to try and do more because
Some of
I
them are really short.
yeah, some are like 20, 25 minutes, which are great. The
Mm-hmm.
maximum I've found is 31. So
Yeah.
it's perfect because I get up, I do the workout, then I take the dogs walking and then get ready for work. So it actually works out.
Perfect. Yeah, I loved that program. I cannot wait to do it again.
Oh, she's so good. I love everything about it. And oh
Yeah,
my
it
God,
is. It's awesome.
my family is texting. They're doing a group text and my watch keeps buzzing and it's like, what?
Oh, so is mine. It's my kid actually. It's Mason. Gosh, it's a little late, dude. I know, but it's like 10:30 there. Go to bed.
No, my dad's doing some kind of home improvement project and he's like messaging all of us for opinions and I'm like, my phone is downstairs, stop. And so my brother keeps responding and my sister and I'm like, oh gosh.
All my Mason is
buzzing.
I'm
turning my notifications off.
Mason just asked me, does PayPal cost anything?
Oh my gosh, how funny.
It does not cost anything. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the eating plan. Which one are you doing? Are you
Foundational
fix? Okay,
yeah.
So and that's awesome. That's like I've been doing that for 6 years. But I wanted to talk about what happens when you're not 100%. So let's say,
like yesterday,
I was the same way actually. I didn't have people over, but my husband did, and they kept bringing food in, and I kept taking bites of it. So it's what it is. But
I wish that was all I did.
Yeah. So I was just like, nope. Today it's just we're pulling it back together.
Yep.
So anyway, what I wanted to talk about what happens when that happens, because it happens. And by and large, a great eating plan is when you eat on that plan 80% of the time.
Okay.
And 20% of the time, you don't. And the reason why that is, and like Foundational Fix is so awesome because it's really a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not something you're going to stop doing after 30 days or 21 days or whatever. It's just the way you're going to eat for the rest of your life. But that plan is based on an 80-20 rule, the 20% being the cheat meal that you do once a week, right? So, and the reason it works, the reason why that plan works so well for so many people is because it's got flexibility and they encourage you to go off plan for a meal a week. And going off plan for a meal a week is not going to set you back in any way, shape, or form. You may hop on the scale the next morning and realize that you weigh an extra half a pound, but it's likely just water weight from salt. You go out to eat, any restaurant you go out to eat to, they are going to add salt to stuff where you wouldn't at home.
Right.
Which is why you crave it, because salt is addictive, just like sugar. But so you go out and you eat your meal, and then you come back and maybe you hop on a scale and you're half a pound heavier. If you drink a ton of water the next day and stick to your eating plan, that half a pound is going to be gone the next day, right? It's true. Yeah. So now, that said, a cheat day is going to set you back, and potentially it will take you days, if not a week, to get what you do in damage over the course of one day if you eat all screwed up meals. If you eat donuts for breakfast and you eat, fried chicken for lunch and you eat a plate of enchiladas with chips and hot sauce and nacho cheese.
Yeah. And my thing is not the meals. Like, I'm mostly on plan with the meals. Even my cheat meal isn't really a big cheat.
Same here.
My problem is, like, yesterday I had a little too much chocolate. I had some Cheez-Its, which are not great, but I really just wanted them.
Yeah.
So, and
Goldfish. Yeah.
I mean, I think over the course of the day, it's not like I had a ton of anything. It's just the fact that I knew I was not making the best choices. And so I was frustrated with myself a little bit, but then I did my measurements today. I was still down a little bit on the scale, but my inches were down overall.
And that's the next thing I was going to talk about. So yeah, go on.
So I just figured, okay, yesterday was not so good. We went out Saturday night and I had a burger, but I had it bunless with, I didn't eat my fries. I had like 5 of the fries, which for me is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I had a wine spritzer, so it was the Sprite Zero and white wine. So it was not even 5 ounces of wine. So, I mean, I think overall that way I did really, really well, but it was just yesterday. And the snacks.
I'm the same way. Like my meals are spot on, except for my cheat meal that I do once a week. And I do that. Like I usually go out to this Italian restaurant that we have down the street, and my meal itself is fine. It's the bread that I eat before the meal that's not fine, but because there's a lot of it and there's a lot of oil involved, and it is what it is. That's is the olive oil and the mass quantities of bread. But I do it once a week, and I don't care. But actually what I eat there is actually super healthy and totally on plan, but it's so good. But it's not, that's not the problem. And then it's when my kids order dessert and I eat half of it. That's the other problem. But it's not, because that's part of the 80-20 thing. And the reason why the 80-20 thing works is because it's not restrictive and it's something you can do for the rest of your life. And so that is, if you try to be 100% all the time, you'll upset yourself. Like you were frustrated with yourself yesterday. So if I was talking to you yesterday, at the end of the day, I just said, let it go. Don't be frustrated with yourself. That's your 20%.
Okay.
That's it.
That's fair. Yeah.
You reeled it back in today and you rocked it, and that's all that matters,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hello there. Okay, I'm not done. And then, okay, so that said, segue into what you just said, but the scale versus the non-scale victories. The scale can sometimes be very deceptive. And here's the reason why. I think the biggest reason why is because, well, there's 3 reasons why. Number one, because when you're building muscle and replacing fat with muscle, the scale is not going to change. It could possibly even go up because muscle weighs more than fat, but it takes up less space. So that's why your scale is kind of the same, or maybe a little less even, but your inches are down. Because so like I was telling a friend of mine the other day, because she was like, I don't know what the deal is. I just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, but the scale doesn't change. I'm like, oh, I know what the deal is, because you're exercising and you're eating right, and your muscles go when they get.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, like that's so awesome. But don't get discouraged by the scale.
Well, that's why I did my measurements too, because I knew the scale was not what I wanted it to be. So I'm like, okay, well, it's my day. Let's do the measurements and see where all that is. And of course, it's never fast enough. You always want it to be,
well, of course not.
A ton, but I'm seeing progress, and that's what
matters. And the the fast changes, and there's some products out there, no names mentioned, that do change things quickly. And the problem with those is the minute you stop, all of it comes back, all of it, every single bit, because you haven't changed your lifestyle, and then some usually, just about everybody I know, because you haven't changed your lifestyle, you didn't create healthy habits, and your body doesn't respond to the up and down like that. It needs to go gradually. And there's going to be times where you hit plateaus in that, where you hit plateaus in your scale stuff. And anytime that happens, just reach out to me and let's figure out what it is and why that's happening, because there's usually a reason that we can fix, like quickly, other than like it's your thyroid or something. And would just be like, let's try all these things. And if all these things don't work, then I send you to your doctor and say, go get a blood test for your thyroid.
Right.
And I only say that because I have a thyroid problem. I've had a thyroid problem for 14 years. That I have, and not the good kind, not hyperthyroid. I have hypothyroid, and it's not autoimmune or anything fun like that. It's just crappy thyroid. I basically my thyroid doesn't function at all. So those non-scale victories, like my clothes fit different, my measurements are down, I have more energy, like my mood's better, like all those things are so much more important than the number on the scale. That number on the scale should never define your happiness, your completeness, your success, your goal. You know, that should never, like I tell people, if anything, go buy a pair of jeans that's a size smaller than what you wear now and get there. Like,
yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, don't, and you know, you can put them up in your closet. Like I had one person do that a couple years ago. Just put it up in your closet, and then when those fit, go get another pair and put those up in the closet, because she was struggling with the scale. The scale was really getting her down, and I'm like, then don't look at the scale. Look at the jeans. Look at the jeans. Put the jeans on, and the farther up they come each day or each week, that's a victory. That's a huge victory. And then she finally did get on the scale when she dropped like 3 sizes, and she was like, oh my gosh, I've lost 25 pounds. I'm like, you see? And you didn't even look at the scale once. So the scale, if you can handle it, the scale is great. It's like for me, I weigh every day in the morning. But for me, it's really just a measure of how much water I need to drink or how much water I didn't drink the day before. So I'm heavier when I don't drink enough water. And it just tells me that I'm dehydrated, basically. So that's pretty much all I use it for is, oh, look, I didn't drink enough. Okay, better drink some more today. And so then I drink more the next day, and then the next day I'm literally like half pound down. I'll drink an extra like 25 or 30 ounces of water, and I'll lose a half a pound overnight in pee. But still, it doesn't matter. It's flushing the crap out, basically. So I think if you have a healthy relationship with the scale, then awesome. But if you don't, pick something else. Measurements, clothes, whatever, pick something else. You know, some people have a goal of getting their cholesterol down or their blood pressure down. And that's another, you know, big non-scale victory that you'll see over time too. I highly, highly, highly recommend pictures. You don't have to share them with anybody.
I took them. I hate them.
Good. Okay, that's fine. But, and you don't have to put them anywhere. They can just hang out. But do progress, because even though you hate them, when you put them side by side, you'll be blown away. And you don't have to ever share them anywhere. You don't ever have to share them. It doesn't matter. It's really not. It's for you, not me. It's for you. It's for you to be able to really visually see the progress that's happening. And I think they're, as much as people hate them, I think they are so helpful, because there's times when you will feel like crap, and then you're like, I'm not doing it right. I'm messing up this, I'm messing up that, blah, 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 whatever. And then you take the pictures, you know, maybe every 30 days, and then you put them side by side and you realize, well, I really don't look that bad. You know, I really have changed, you know, and that is so important, because if you can see, because you see yourself every day. You know, you look in the mirror, you don't see the change. But if you put a 30-day picture side by side, there's going to be change. And you know what? Maybe there isn't. And maybe that tells you, well, maybe I shouldn't eat all the chocolate on Sundays. I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing yesterday. I figured out that chocolate, I used to buy, well, I still do, but I still have a few left, but I buy chocolate bars, you know, like 80%. I love dark, nasty dark chocolate, like 80% dark chocolate. But I figured out the bars actually have a harder time regulating how much I eat of them for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably just mental. But what works better for me is really dark chocolate chips, because I can.
Yeah, you said that.
because I can measure them in my little hand and I know what I'm supposed to eat and I put them in the container and I don't eat anymore, but I didn't do that yesterday. I ate like 3 sets of those over the course of about 7 minutes.
Yeah, Chris and I were talking about the fact that like I love chocolate covered almonds from Costco.
Oh yeah, well, right.
But I won't buy them anymore because where he could go and have like 4 of them and be happy, I need like 4 or 5 handfuls and then I'd still want more.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same. Like I just I can't. There's certain things I cannot keep in the house.
No.
And then so that's smart. You just don't. And then, maybe every once in a while you go to the store and get a little tiny thing of chocolate covered almonds and let that be your treat instead of the big one from Costco, because then you have to eat the whole thing.
All in one sitting. No, I'm
dangerous.
just kidding, not that bad.
No, I know. I understand that. My mother-in-law sent me chocolate covered cashews
Oh, I love those too.
for Christmas. And I'm like, woman, I can't have those around. They're so good. And they're dark chocolate covered cashews.
Then that would be gone.
And they're salted.
Oh no.
It's just bad. I mean, I'm like, I can't. But anyway, so, I think those are all really, really important things. And then I had one question, and it's just you, so you get to decide. So I am happy to do this and to go find them and make them and so on and so forth, but not if they're not useful to people. But would you find it helpful if we had suggested meal plans? Or is that something that wouldn't, dang it. Okay.
No, it's okay. I'm good.
Yeah,
I think
it will help.
Well, what helps me, I think, is I like to try new things.
Yeah.
And so like I don't have to have a whole plan, but like suggested meals and new recipes, things like that would be more helpful for me. Like I don't have to have a whole day planned out. I don't need that.
Okay. So I kind of planned some posts out for the group, and I've been doing like 1 or 2 recipes a week, but maybe I should do more and then work towards getting like maybe a week's worth of 1 week of meal plans for each 30 days that we do. And then with new recipes, and you can mix and match those however you want to. And then I can put them in like a unit in the group, and then you can refer back to them and find stuff, and then it becomes like this big sort of gallery of all the different things. And maybe there'll be eventually like 100 different recipes in there that you can choose from.
Oh yeah. Well, because the other thing is like when you look at the recipes on like Fixate and stuff like that, some of them I go, I don't know if I'd even like that, but if somebody else has had it and said, oh, this is fabulous, then you're oh, well, I'll try that now that I know that everybody else had it. So that's the other thing, just knowing that somebody else has tried it and said, oh yeah, that's thumbs up by everybody, or that wasn't so great, or
right,
if you change this it's better, because like the other day I did the pizza that I made pizza for my husband, for my son, and then I had my own pizza, and I do the 2 ingredient crust, which is just it's self-rising flour and Greek yogurt.
Oh wow.
And it makes a fabulous kind of almost sourdough like crust. And then I topped it with ricotta cheese and mushrooms and basil, and it was so good.
That sounds unreal, actually. Is that a Fixate recipe?
I made it up. I needed protein. I knew that I could have Greek yogurt, ricotta cheese. So I thought, well, I like white pizza. And you don't have to necessarily have a sauce on white pizza. I know I love the crust. I do the crust all the time. But then I'm like, well, I need some protein. Ricotta will work. So I spread the ricotta, and I love mushrooms and basil. So I'm like, throw those on there, see how it goes. And then a little mozzarella cheese on the top.
You should share that with the group.
Oh, good. That,
especially
and I'm doing
the crust recipe.
Oh, it's so easy.
Well, clearly, but you need to tell that. I will do that. I will try that for sure.
And you can probably do gluten-free too. You just have to use a all-purpose, self-rising gluten-free, or put in the stuff to make it self-rising.
I think that, I don't think I could be wrong. I don't think anybody in our group is gluten-free.
Oh, okay. Well, then awesome.
I know.
I mean, I feel bad for people that are.
So
I
do
have
I.
several friends who are.
I've tried the gluten-free. It doesn't. I can't do it. I don't bake. It's like I try. Well, I also live at high altitude, so the baking thing is difficult anyway. But well, you do too, don't you live? How high are you?
40 something.
Yeah, I'm 7,000, but still, like anything above 2,000 is high altitude baking. But if it
and
works,
we're above 3,500, which is what they always put as kind of the basic.
Over 3,500 do this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it if you'd share that with the group. That would be awesome.
Yep.
And do you find, I'm gonna stop the recording.